Peace and blessings. Yes, peace and blessings. Shabbat shalom to each and every one of you. Yes, this is the day that the Most High has made, and we rejoice in it, and we are glad. Honored to be back with you once again. We're here because, yes, it is, as you know, it is Shabbat, and we're happy when this day comes. We're happy because we get to spend time with each other, but more importantly, we get to spend time with the Most High. This day is about the Most High, and it's about the Most High dwelling with us. It's about the Most High revealing to us that he shares his presence, and he shares different levels of his presence. He shares it in certain places. He shares it with concerning certain things, and he shares it even with certain people. But also we find that he is also time specific, and he has what's called the Moedim, which means that those are the sacred appointed times. I remember back in the Christian church, back in the days when I was a deceived Christian, I would hear things about, divine appointments, and God's got a divine appointment, with your name on it. We'd get happy and shout all around the church. When lo and behold, there were a people, there were Hebrews all around us that were entering into those divine appointments every Shabbat. And this is, of course, Shabbat. And yes, this is a divine appointment. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. I'm Yamori for this channel. I'm Melky Uriel. And yes, I give you the truth and nothing but the truth as it relates to the Tanakh and as it relates to this world in which we live, and how the two meet there in between. I will speak flat-footed, and I will answer you from the scriptures, understanding that the scriptures are the word of the Most High and not the Christian New Testament. It is we could say many things about this, but I will simply say that we do teach the word of the Most High as has been handed down to us from our forefathers in the Tanakh. And we don't find it strange that the three major world religions uses our corpus of material and our history as their foundation. I'm talking about the three major religions that we know of, being that of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, which is a smaller subset of Yahwism. We do indeed embrace the truth as has been handed down to us, and we use the scriptures of what many have called the Old Testament, which, by the way, it is derogatory to call the Hebrew Bible the Old Testament, because it implies that there is something new, there's something better, and the old thing is to be thrown away, which are the very words of the so-called Apostle Paul, as erroneous as he was. But we do stand for the truth. We stand for the word of the Most High, and the only place where the scripture is, or I should say, can be found within the Christian New Testament is when it is quoting the Tanakh. But be mindful, act as if you're walking around landmines, because in the Christian New Testament, yes, every time the truth is spoken from the Tanakh, 9 times out of 10, you can bet your bottom dollar that it's either to substantiate a lie or to perpetuate a deception of some form and of some kind. So with that being the case, hey, we share with you the word of the Most High, and perhaps many of you have not heard the word of Yah, the word of Yahweh, as we use the more ancient pronunciation on this channel. Maybe you have not heard the word of Yahweh. Maybe you have not understood that what he says goes, and what he says is eternal. There is no expiration date. If you take those two in mind, then you'll begin to look at the Christian New Testament and Christianity very differently. Again, I will say those two again, that what the Most High says is eternal, and two, what he says does not change. Yeah, what he says does not change. It is eternal, and it reigns supreme. Therefore, we invoke, as I've often said, we invoke Isaiah 8:20 concerning this testimony in the law. Hey, if they don't speak in harmony with this, then there is no light in them. This is the only way that the prophets were able to come forth, and the writings, the Ketuvim and the Nevi'im, this is the only way that they were able to come forth and add to the corpus of material that we find in the Torah to make that which we now call the Tanakh. Well, my brothers and sisters, we're honored to be before you as your more for this channel, Melky Uriel. We are going to uncover in our main topic, Yeah, I'm calling it Israel and the Onion because when I think I'm going to open up something that may shock a number of you, and hey, we're going to deal with it. We're going to deal with it, and it's going to be nothing less than wonderful. When in fact, you know what? Even before I do that, there's a couple of things that I want to do as I greet you all. I want to, I mentioned that we do stand by the word of the Most High, and we do. And so if you give me just a second, we will continue with our opening. We will continue with our prayer. We will continue with shouts out and so forth and so on, and our main topic when we come back.
Makes you laugh.
Well, peace and blessings. We're definitely back with you, and I just simply want to say that we here on this channel, we follow the laws, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. And yes, we do live the covenant. We walk the covenant. Some of you may be afraid because I heard that there are 613 laws. Well, again, I point, and I have said this many times, but I point and I stress at this simple fact that there are thousands of rules that govern the playing of basketball, baseball. I don't mean collectively, I mean individually. There are literally thousands of rules on the books for football, boxing, you name it, as well as driving. There are thousands of rules on the books for driving, but yet you don't say, well, I'm not going to touch those car keys. No, you grab those car keys and you go to where you're going. Well, I'm saying that you need to do the same thing with your life. Grab the Tanakh, grab the laws and statutes, commandments of the Most High, and go live your life. The 613 is a lot less than thousands upon thousands. I think there's over like 65,000 laws, or either 6,500 or 65,000 laws just for football alone. And believe me, 613, trust me, you can do that. But as if that was not good enough, the Most High said, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to take even these 10 declarations and let you live by them. For those of you just starting out, start here to live the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And we begin with the first thing, which is we will not have any other Elohim to be our God that we worship. We will have no one else, no other Elohim. We will not invent a man to bow down to worship to him. No, we will only worship the creator of heaven and earth. We will worship the Most High and the Most High alone. We will not make any object, neither of wood or of stone or even of an idea or a belief or a faith system. We will not create anything and call it revelation. We will not create anything that is new to worship, that the Most High did not substantiate on the mountain and through his own words. We also will not take the name nor the character nor the presence of the Most High in vain. Also, we do honor Shabbat, which is this day. We keep it holy by doing no work during the daylight hours, and we relax in the presence of the Most High. We enjoy time with one another, and we are revived in this day. Hallelujah. Also, we honor our mothers and our fathers, that our days may be long upon the earth. We stand upon the shoulders of our ancestors, and we honor them, even as Shmuel Hanavi, even as Samuel the prophet poured out water. He poured out libation. We also honor our mothers and our fathers. Yet we do, as well as he, we recount their sins and we repent for the sins of our forefathers. But we yet honor them because we stand upon their shoulders. We thank the Most High for them. And we are thankful, and we move forward with the positivity that they have given us. And we, of course, move in righteousness according to the law. As well, we will not shed innocent blood. We do not commit murder by shedding innocent blood. We will not commit adultery. We will not take that does not belong to us, and we will not be a false witness in any matter of judgment. And we will not covet and lust after something that someone else has. Why? Because the Most High has blessings for us. The Most High says, if you walk with me and you obey my laws, statutes, and commandments, says, yes, all of these blessings are going to seek you out. They're going to overtake you. So there are blessings that are looking for us. We don't have to beg, borrow, or steal from anyone. David Hamelech said very famously, says, look, I was young and now I'm old. I'm telling you, I ain't never seen a true righteous person. I've never seen the Most High not provide for a righteous person. Well, of course, we believe that the Most High has our backs. He's the foundation. He's the foundation that we stand upon, and with Him we continue to be healthy, healed, happy, and prosperous. Remember, Israel is not cursed. No, Israel is not cursed any longer. Expect a blessing from the Most High. Expect His favor. Expect His favor, His presence, His help, the Malakim to help you. Expect all of these things because the Most High, He reigns, and He reigns supreme. He alone is kings, and He alone is Lord of lords, and there is none other. He said, beside me, there is no other Elohim. Say, ain't nobody beside me. So all these notions they painted in your head falsely when you were in Christianity, that there's a throne right beside the Most High, and guess what? You know who's sitting there. No, that is not the case. There is only one throne in heaven, and it belongs to the Most High Himself. And He is the only one that's sitting there. You can read Daniel, the 7th chapter, and find that out. Well, we do give praise unto the Most High, and so now comes a time where we pray. We pray just a little bit differently. We're going to go ahead and pray in just a minute, but we ask ourselves the question first off, and you know what that question is? We ask, hey, did we on purpose intend to set out to disobey the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High? Well, normally that answer would be no. We would hope that answer would be no. But yet there may be something that we may have done that did displease the Most High, and so we yet and still embrace the mercies of the Most High. And with that being the case, yes, we embrace mercy and we come before Him. Well, as we continue, we also can have mercy upon one another, but keeping in mind that you only forgive an individual when they have merited your forgiveness. It is harm, it is violence to yourself and violence to truth when you pretend that someone has changed and done what they need to do. Until that's proven, then yes, I'm sorry, they cannot be forgiven until they demonstrate truth. Well, with that being the case, we go before the Most High, having mercy, seeking mercy, knowing that, hey, we ourselves, that we may have done something that we're not cognizant of, but hey, nonetheless, we come before Him. So let's just do some inner searching before we come before the Most High, so that we can come before Him in peace. We can come before Him with a good conscience. Be right back. Let's get ready. Barukata Ya'o Behashimayim, Barukata Beharetz, Barukata Bekol Haolam, Kieta Melech Haolam. Blessed are you, Most High in heaven, and blessed are you in earth. Blessed are you in all of the universe. Blessed are you because you are the King of the universe. Gam enaknu ha'am shalabrit shelekhatayada she'enaknu hayeledim. We are the children, we are the people of the covenant, and you know that we are your children. We would ask before you, Most High, we would ask of you this day that you continue to bless us and smile upon us. We thank you, we rejoice in you, Most High. We celebrate your presence, we celebrate your truth, we celebrate you being with us. We celebrate the peace, and we have such gratitude in our hearts. We're so thankful to be a part of this family, so thankful to be a part of this truth, so thankful to be a part of this knowledge that is constantly unveiling more and more wisdom for us to walk and live by. We're so thankful for each and every member of this Hebrew community. We're so thankful for their prosperity and their health and their healing and they're doing well mentally, financially, physically. We thank you that socially they're doing well. Their families are well. We just decree that your presence is with us. We decree your strength and your ability to deliver, to help, to heal, and to make all things right and true. We thank you that we're walking in your covenant, and we thank you for the covenant. Manifest your covenant in our lives. Manifest your covenant and the blessings, even as you did for Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Reveal your blessing and your covenant, your protection, your ability to bring us into a safe place where you've written in your word that Israel shall not be afraid anymore, and that we would be blessed and that we would dwell in your presence. We thank you, Most High, for these blessings. We thank you for the members of our community. We thank you for our dear elder, Leonie Croning. We thank you for her revival. We thank you for her continued health and strength. We thank you for her well-being. We thank you that your will is being done in her life and you're giving her strength. And we just thank you. We thank you for her. We thank you for her, Most High. We thank you for our brother George Evans. We thank you for him, for being with him physically, reviving his youth, giving him strength, helping him to feel better even deep inside his bones. We thank you for all of our Hebrew community. Bless us to continue to feel well and to be well, giving us to do that which is holistically good for our bodies and also for our minds and for our families. We thank you, Most High, for how you are with us. We just rejoice in you, and we have such gratitude for your blessings. We're grateful for your blessings. We're grateful for our families, grateful for your provision, grateful for your truth, grateful for everything that you're doing. Yes, there's a lot that we could worry about, but we're grateful before you. We thank you for being with us. We thank you for your help. In your name alone, Yah, we thank you. We say aman wa aman. Well, peace and blessings to each and every one of you. We're so glad that you are here. When I come back, you know what we're going to give some shout outs to the family. Be right back.
Let me make you laugh.
All right, we are back, and yes, we're happy to be back. I'm your more for this channel, Malky Uriel, and let's stop by and see. Yep. Guess who turned the lights on this morning? Giving shouts out to the family. Peace and blessings to you, my brother Bergen Paris. Glad that you're here. He is our Minister of Safety and Security. Peace and blessings to you, my brother. You know that I love you and your family. Glad that you are here. Our elder turned on the coffee pot this morning. Peace and blessings to you, Christine Croning. We love you. So glad that you're here for Shabbat morning coffee. The second person in the room, we say that they turn on the coffee pot. And our brother Raymond Radcliffe helped grab the sugar for the coffee. Yeah, brother Raymond Radcliffe, peace and blessings to you, my brother. Glad that you are here. Hey, Miss H is in the house. High fives for everybody. Miss H, hey, Miss H, I'm glad that you are here. And glad, I'm glad that we have our family with us. My brother Ben Naftali is also with us. And our brother Adrian is here with us. Yes, our brother Adrian, who is our Minister of Economics. Thank you for sending me the video that you sent me. And we're going to see that today. And as well, we've got Bibs Dib. Shalom, Bibs Dib. That's kind of funny to me. Bibs Dib. I wonder what that stands for. I wonder what that's all about. Maybe you can share that with me a little bit later. But hey, shalom to you. Shalom to you. Glad that you are here. You are welcome. As well, we have Marie Yeshaz. Peace and blessings to you. Glad you're back. Double high fives for everybody. We're glad that you are back. As well, we have Let's see here. Did I miss? No, I think that is everybody for now. And you know what? As always, we've got far more people watching than we do actually in the chat room. And again, I say, hey, come on in. It's fine. We don't bite unless you bite first. You're free to put your comments up. And you know what? If you just respect the room, respect where you are. Yeah, respect the room and respect the mic. We will have no problems here. Just want to let you know that we are a family. We're a loving people. We're Hebrews, but we're not them angry Hebrews. We're not the angry versions. No, we're like family, and we believe in the truth, and we are trying to grow closer to the Most High together. We're trying to live this life together, and you're welcome to come along with us. Well, when I get back, we're going to start our Torah portion for today. And yes, it is a doozy. I'm calling this one Israel and the Onion. All right, here we go. We are gonna get into it. Yep. For those of you that don't know where we're coming from, we are coming from Genesis 37 all the way through to 40. All right, so this is Genesis 37, and we're going to go all the way through to the end of the 40th chapter. Now, I'm going to be reading a lot. I'm going to be reading quickly. And yes, this is what we're here for. We're here for the Torah portion and for the other segments. And so let's get right into it. Here we are, getting into the beginning of this chapter, which is Genesis 37. Bereshit 37, and our schedule is that we start with the month of Aviv. We start the Torah portions in the month of Aviv, and yes, we continue forward. And I want to begin with the first verse. And Yaakov dwelt in the land wherein his father was a stranger, in the land of Canaan. So now we see that Yaakov, he is where his father was, in the land of Canaan. This is one of the first layers that we find in the onion that we're looking at today, where Yaakov is traveling in the geographical territory that his father did. Okay, now keep in mind that this is significant for a number of different reasons. And this actually gets into, I don't want to get too deep into this because this is not midweek. If this was midweek, I would get even deeper into this. But I'm just going to mention this as a side note, that this gets into the theoretical foundations behind there being multiple universes. Well, what does multiple universes have to do with the first verse of Genesis 37 and 1? The multiple universe theory states that you can be in the exact same place, but that geographical place can exist in a number of different states, even at the same time, but based upon where you are in the universe itself. Now, I know that may sound a little bit complicated, but basically you hear people say things about frequency and your vibration and what are you believing, and basically what is your spirit tuned to. And we find that, my brothers and sisters, is the key that unlocks the different dimensions of universe and truth. Where is your spirit at? Okay, you can look at the same sunset, but if your spirit is in a place of doom and gloom, then you won't see the beauty of that sunset or that sunrise. You can be in the same geographical place looking at the same geographical sun, but if your spirit is in a different place, then your experience is going to be completely different. Well, here we find that yes, even though Yaakov was in the same territory, okay, even as his father was, there's going to be a number of different things that unhurl from this onion that we're basically discovering layer by layer. These are the generations of Yaakov. Joseph being 17 years old. Joseph was 17 years old when these things began to happen. He was feeding the flock with his brethren. Okay, now, Interesting thing of it is that he was actually helping, and we're going to see here that the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives, and Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. So yeah, Joseph, he was a tattletale, okay? He was always snitching. And you know what they say, hey, snitches get stitches. So in looking at Joseph, I mean, they couldn't stand him because he was, he was 17 years old, but he was always telling on everyone. He would be the one, while y'all having fun, he'd be the one laughing at it, but then he'd run back and tell on you and tell your parents, and they did this and they did that and they stole money from you. I mean, Joseph was snitching all the time, okay? And so, you know what they say, snitches get stitches. So now we see that it says in verse number 3, now Israel, Yaakov, he loved Joseph more than all his children. So we see once again that we're finding familiar layers coming back to us, how that Yaakov was loved by his mother, Rebekah. Remember that? Isaac loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And now we see some of the same things popping their heads up. We see some of the same layers of the onion visiting us once again. And yes, there will be tears. Looking at this, he loved him more than all of his other children. And because he was a son of his old age, and guess what? He made him a coat of many colors. Now, this is significant, okay? But we're going to talk about this. This is significant for a number of reasons. But I mean, really, right now, the equation is not looking too good. Why? Because Joseph, he is the son of Israel's old age, which means, it's kind of like that pattern where, you're the most strict on the first, and the second. But out of having 12, that by the time, the bigger the family, the younger the child, a lot of times the more spoiled the child is, and the child, they will be used to getting their way. So it does paint the picture that this equation here is spelling out a spoiled Joseph, or a Joseph of privilege, and his brothers just wasn't trying to have that. And to make it worse, notice what we see here. Yaakov had the nerve to make him a coat of many colors. Now we're going to find that, while Joseph is known for the coat of many colors, the coat of many colors was not invented by Yaakov to give to Joseph. This was something that would happen. This is something that was a matter of tradition for the culture. It's a part of cultural memory. And we find that while we are going to talk about one Tamar, there's another Tamar, the sister of Absalom, okay, the son of Dawid Hamelech, the son of David, and you find that she had a coat of many colors as well. Not only did she have a coat of many colors, but all the virgins of the house wore a coat of many colors to bring about their significance and their importance and their honor in the household. Okay, which is why it is of great tragedy what happened to Tamar by a different son of David, because basically he ruined her honor, literally. Well, as we go back to Joseph, he was given a coat of many colors, and it was believed that this coat, it had different color materials in stripes, okay, in vertical stripes that not anything quilted per se, but it was just something that had different materials, different color materials all sewn together to make a coat, and it was deemed to be special. And when his brethren saw that their father loved him more than all his brethren, they hated him and could not speak peaceably unto him. Now, I want to point something out to you, because what we're going to see unhurl once again as we deal with this onion is something that we may not have seen since the beginning of Breshit, since the beginning of Genesis. And what is that? Well, I'm going to call it the spirit of Cain. Yes, the spirit of Cain is another layer to the onion that ends up unpeeling and causing tears. The spirit of Cain is this. Now, understand the plight when it comes to the spirit of Cain. Spirit of Cain involves a divine jealousy. Remember, Cain was jealous and envious of his brother Abel. He was envious of him because the Most High received his offering and not Cain's offering. So in Cain's mind, and by the way, it messed up his countenance. He was sad, so forth and so on, because he felt like the Most High did not accept and receive him. He took it personally. And the Most High came to Cain in a very familiar and famous chapter and verse, chapter 4, verse 7, and said, look, you need to get a hold of yourself, okay? Get a hold of yourself. I know your face is all wrinkled up, you're mad. Look, just make the right choice. That's all you got to do. Make the right choices, okay? So we see the spirit of Cain popping up here again, where there's envy between brothers because one is chosen, one bears the presence of the Most High, one is favored above the other. And you find the spirit of Cain, there are certain things that always happens with the spirit of Cain. There is this envy, there's deep emotional trauma that runs under, an undercurrent of hate and envy. And we find that in the relationship between Joseph and his brothers, but also you will also find murder as well. You will find the shedding of innocent blood and murder also in the mixed with the spirit of Cain. And that's exactly what we're about to see. So Israel made him a coat of many colors, and his brothers couldn't even talk to him, right? His brothers like, man, I hate this little punk. It make me sick. Got this coat of many colors, and Dad loves him more. It's like our value. It's like nobody sees our value. No one can see what we can do, because everybody talking about Joseph. Hate that little punk. So his brothers really did have an issue with him. Okay. And notice, as if it wasn't bad enough, verse number 5, and Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told his brethren, and they hated him yet more, as if that was possible. They hated him yet even more. So the spirit of Cain is really in high effect. Verse 6, and he said unto them, as, oh my goodness, listen, this is just becoming the perfect storm. Joseph he's young, he's full of zeal, he's excited. Okay, and he doesn't know what to do with what he has, but now he's making it worse, because he's thinking that he's supposed to share this dream. Okay, and he reveals to us a lesson: never share a dream with those that hate you. Never share a dream with those that hate you. Sometimes you can't even share your dream with those that love you. It's best to just keep the dream to yourself. Act on it, believe that the Most High is going to do whatever, but don't run your mouth and tell everyone. Keep it a secret. No one has to know that you have a dream. Okay? There are people that may secretly hate you because they see that you're special. Just keep your dream to yourself. Don't tell your dreams to anyone. There's no need to tell your dreams to anyone. It's a message from the Most High to you. So you walk out your dream and you live your dream. But notice what Joseph does in his naivety and in his youth. He dreams a dream, and he told his brethren, the very ones that hated him, and they hated him even more. And he said unto them, hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. Woo, you need to hear this dream, because, man, I believe this is prophecy. Man, look. Okay, so the dream started, okay, and we were binding sheaves in the field, and man, I'm telling you, my sheaf rose. Man, my sheaf rose up, got all big and stuff, and it was standing like an Empire State Building. And then also all of y'all little, sheaves came around and started bowing down to me and stuff. Man, y'all was just bowing. Y'all was bowing and crying and bowing and stuff to me. And that wasn't that crazy? Man, that's something else. And his brethren said to him, dude, do you honestly think that you're going to reign over us? It's like, it's not bad enough that our dad favors you. He's giving you a coat. You snitching on us, and you're making this worse. Okay, now you're having dreams, and you're gonna tell us that you're gonna reign over us. Oh, we got something for you, little punk. Or shall indeed you're going to have dominion over us? And they hated him yet more for his dreams. They hated him yet even more for his dreams and for his words. So he was like he was like Bubba in Forrest Gump, just talking about it. Yep. And y'all gonna bow down to me? Man, y'all gonna bow down to my sheaves and stuff, and my sheaves just gonna get up and be big, and man, y'all just gonna be all low and stuff, bow, your head gonna be touching the ground, man. I'ma just be up there all big and stuff. Man, the more he talked, the more they hated him. They were getting heated because of this spirit of Cain, where they just said, hey, we're taking this personal. We're rejected. You're accepted, and we don't like it. Okay, so now we got to persecute you. Got to persecute you for this. And by the way, this is the same spirit that's in Edom. That's in the Edomite. It's the same jealousy. It comes from a place where you want to be the one. You want to be the one that's favored of the Most High. You want to be the one that's chosen. And the spirit of Cain is at work in the Edomite, because they see your chosenness. They see who you are. And rather than embracing it, they want to persecute you for it. Well, let's take a look at verse number 9. And he dreamed yet another dream. And guess what he going to do with this dream too? And he told it his brethren. Once again, he shows us that you can't tell your dreams to those that hate you. And he said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father, now look, even Israel said, even Jacob said, look, dude, you tripping now, because what, you think me and your mom gonna bow down to you? I mean, like, really, dude? You think your parents gonna bow? You need to get a grip, okay? You better go on somewhere with your dream. But notice what it says here. It says, you know what? They're going to bow themselves down, and his father rebuked him. And then he says, me and your mother, we're going to bow down? Really? And his brethren envied him, but his father observed his saying. So his father, though kind of saying, look, you're going off on deep end. You're going off the deep end, son. You need to bring it back, okay? Because I'm your daddy, boy. I ain't bowing down to you. Well, look at verse number 12. In verse number 12, we see this. And his brethren went to feed their flocks. Okay? His brethren went to feed their flocks in Shechem. Now, what do we know about Shechem? Shechem becomes an interesting part of the territory. Some say that it really does read disaster automatically when you look at Shechem. But Shechem was the place where you had Mount Ebal, and you also had Mount Gerizim. You have these two mountains, and why are these mountains significant? Because they're the mountains of blessing and the mountains of cursing. Is the mountain of blessing and the mountain of curse. The mountain of blessing is Mount Gerizim, where there were certain tribes of Israel that would be designated to pronounce the blessing. And on Mount Ebal, you had the cursing. There were the other 6 tribes, they would be sent there to pronounce a curse, right? And you find in Deuteronomy 27, you find the curses there, and you also find it in the latter part of chapter 28 of Deuteronomy as well. But those were the curses that were to be pronounced on those that did not obey the commands of the Most High. Well, so then Shechem is the place, which means that there is a decision that has to be made. There is a decision that's going to lead to cursing, or there is a decision that's going to lead to blessing, because they are going to Shechem. Okay? And it just so happened, look at verse number 13, and Israel said unto Joseph, do not thy brethren feed the flock in Shechem? Come, I will send thee unto them. And he said to him, hey, I'm here. Okay, I'll go if you want me to go. And he said to him, go, I pray thee, see whether it be well with thy brethren, and well with the flocks, and bring me word again. So he sent them out to the Vale of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. Well, look at verse number 17. Now keep in mind, the very ones that Joseph is going to see, they are upwards of 35, like many of them were born before Joseph was born. So they're, if Joseph is 17, and we see that in the text that he is, well, then you can understand that there are members of his brothers that are in their 30s. Okay, even close to being that we might say would be middle age, 40, maybe even 45. So he's dealing with his older brothers, which is why it reads that when he was helping the sons of Zilpah and Bilhah, that he was acting as an apprentice. He was learning under his bigger brothers. Okay, so then by the time we get to him finding them, notice what we read here. And a certain man found him, and behold, he was wandering. And the man asked him, saying, what do you seek? And he said, I'm looking for my brothers. He said, tell me, where their flocks? And the man said, well, I heard somebody say that they were going to Dothan. Well, Joseph then went in that direction of Dothan. And the interesting thing of it is, Joseph, who didn't know any better, is out there in the wilderness with his coat of many colors. Okay, he wore the coat of many colors as he went out to go and do what his daddy said. Now, again, Joseph was young, full of zeal for what, look at, kind of like, look what I got. I'm so glad. I'm so happy. Well, he has these dreams. He tells his brothers. Now he won't take off that coat of many colors. He's wearing it every day, everywhere he goes. And look what happens. See, some things are better left in secret, okay? It doesn't mean that it's not true just because you're hiding it in secret. It says in verse number 18, and when they saw him afar off. What do you mean they saw him afar off? Because the only person wearing a coat of many colors that they know of would have been their younger brother, okay? Their younger brother Joseph. Even before he came near to them, because they saw him wearing the coat of many colors that he couldn't take off, they conspired against him to slay him, to kill him, okay? Now, we're about to get into a whole nother layer of the onion here that's really deep. And they said one to another, behold, this dreamer comes. Now, come now, therefore, and let us slay him and cast him into some pit. And we will say, some evil beast hath devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams. Now, the reason why this is significant, we find something really coming to play here. We find that not only is Yaakov experiencing the seed, or I should say the harvest of deception that he portrayed on others. Okay, even in his old age, Israel was still receiving paybacks from all the deception that he had wrought. It's like when the Most High said to David, look, you have blood on your hands. You're a man of war. And by the way, there's going to be war in your household from now on. Okay? I forgave you, meaning that I'm not going to kill you for what you did. Even though you deserved death, I had mercy on you and I gave you some grace. But you are still going to have to deal with what you put out there, and you're going to have to receive your own harvest. War is not going to leave your household. Many people think that the Most High cursed David with that, but no, that was a matter of fact. Because of what David had done, David had sown the seed of warfare in his own household, okay? Which is why his daughter Tamar ends up getting raped, and her coat of many colors ends up getting torn. Well, let's continue, because with this layer here, this is a deep layer. And Reuben heard it, and he delivered him out of his hands and said, let us not kill him. Now, keep in mind, they're actually sowing into their future, and notice what they're doing collectively as Israel. Okay, they're doing collectively as the early nation of Israel to their brother Joseph. Okay, what they are doing to him is going to come back on the entire nation, because you recall that while the brother was coming, okay, notice that we're going to find the same things bearing true, that while Israel was coming into Egypt, into Mitzrayim, later on when a Pharaoh arose that did not know Joseph, guess what? We see the same layers of this onion repeating itself, where there's a thought to kill all the firstborn, right? There's a thought to kill them, and then they become slaves. Well, we notice here that the same thing is happening in this narrative, where at first they're like, hey, let's kill him. But then after thinking of killing him, they put him in a pit. Okay, they put him in a special place, and then the next thing you know, he is gone, and he ends up being sold into Mitzrayim as a slave. And we find that also happening where the children of Israel had their own place in Mitzrayim, and they were the slaves. We find the same thing bearing out, but it comes as the beginning here of what Israel did collectively to Joseph. And Reuben said, don't shed his blood. Okay, so then what we find here is that the Hebrew boys end up not dying, okay, because the midwives said, yeah, by the time we get there, they've already delivered. So they were basically saved, right? But cast him into the pit in the wilderness and lay no hands upon him, that he might rid him out of his hands to deliver to his father again. So he was going to bring him back to his father again. And so what then happens? After Israel discovers that, that Joseph is alive, he ends up meeting his father again after he serves in prison, after he's a slave. And we find all of this coming to pass once again. So let's take a look. Verse number 23. And it came to pass that when Joseph was come to his brethren, that they stripped Joseph out of his coat of many colors. In other words, his honor was taken from him. The same thing happened to Israel when they were in Mitzrayim, okay? Their honor was taken from them, and notice what it reads, and they took him and cast him into the pit, and the pit was empty, and there was no water in it, and they sat down to eat bread, and they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, a company of Ishmaelites came from Gilead with their camels, bearing spicery and balm and myrrh, and going down into Egypt. Now, the deep thing about this is that they were not emotionally upset with what they did. How do you know that? Because they sat down to eat bread. They started drinking and eating. Okay, when you've done something wrong and your emotions are really upset, one of the main things that happens is you lose your appetite. You lose your appetite. Okay, when something affects you emotionally, believe me, I know, you lose your appetite. Okay. And so basically they didn't lose their appetite. They were like, look, hey, yeah, we know he's in the pit. We know he's crying right now, but hey, we're glad. And so they lifted up their eyes and looked, and behold, yep, they said, you know what? Judah said, what profit is it if we slay our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites. Okay, and let not our hand be upon him, for he is our brother and our own flesh. And his brethren were content. Well, the reason why that's significant as well is because we find here in one of the earlier manuscripts, one of the early versions, is believed that Reuben, who looks really altruistic here, and I'm going to save Joseph, I'm going to save him from... in one of the earlier manuscripts, it reads that the reason why Reuben wanted to save him was because he wanted to sell him. Okay, But it looked like Reuben was really just trying to, I'm going to say to boy, don't do that to him. And so that's how this narrative unfolds here. But they ended up putting it in the mouth of Judah that he needs to be sold for money. So notice what happens here. Then there passed by Midianite merchantmen, and they drew and lifted up Joseph out of the pit and sold Joseph to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver, and they brought Joseph to Egypt. So now Joseph is in Egypt. Where does Israel end up? In Egypt. And Reuben returned unto the pit, and behold, Joseph was not in the pit, and he rent his clothes. Okay? And he rent his clothes. Verse number 30, and he returned unto his brethren and said, man, that boy gone. He is gone. I don't know where he is, but he is gone. And they took Joseph's coat and they killed a goat. They killed a goat and dipped the coat in blood. So now understand why this is significant right here. It is significant because they took, first of all, let's talk about this kid. This goat keeps coming back. Notice it was in the original deception between Jacob and Esau. Okay, what did Rachel say? Go get a kid, one of them tender ones, and give me the skin of it. And so it was used to deceive Isaac, right? So that Jacob could get the blessing. Well, now that Jacob is old, okay, a kid is being used again. This time it is to deceive Jacob and to make him think that his son is now dead. Okay. But now also look at how this is going to play out in the future. The honor of Israel being a people is going to be restored. After that, the Most High tells Israel to put the blood upon the door and the lintels, so that you can basically, the mantle of the door and also the sides of the door, I'm going to set you free so that you can be a people, so that you can regain some honor that you had here, because I'm going to redeem you from being a slave. We find all of this coming to pass where it reads into the past, but it also points to their future. So, and they sent the coat of many colors, and they brought it to their father and said, this have we found. Now know whether or not this is your son's coat or not. So they knew it was his coat. So the deception continues. They knew that it was his coat, but yet they're going to, keep it as if, well, we don't know what happened to him. They knew exactly what happened to him. Okay. And he knew it, verse number 33, and he knew it and said, it is my son's coat. An evil beast hath devoured him. Joseph is without doubt rent in pieces, and Yaakov rent his clothes. Okay? Yaakov rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, for I will go down into the grave unto my son mourning. Thus his father wept for him. Now, again, please keep in mind, Jacob is just receiving for all the deception that he's played, all the things that he's done in the past. It's coming back on him even in his late age. My brothers and my sisters, this is why you need to live a life of righteousness and holiness before the Most High. You need to live a life that you need to live a life that when you receive the harvest that you got coming in from your actions, from your heartfelt actions, you need to live a life that says, hey, I'm counting on receiving that harvest, rather than living a life where you're afraid, you got to look over your shoulder, you've done so many people wrong, you've been so dirty. Yeah, you don't want to live a life like that. Okay, Jacob is receiving for all the deception that he himself has done. So he's mourning now and he's weeping, okay, off of this deception. Okay. And the Midianites sold him into Egypt unto Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh's and the captain of the guard. Well, now let's take a look at chapter 38. And it came to pass that at that time that Judah, now we're switching to Judah, and Judah went down from his brethren and turned into a certain Adulamite whose name was Hirah. And Judah saw there a daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. And he took her and went in unto her, and she conceived and bare a son, and he called his name Okay, so he married a Canaanite woman. Okay, and you don't hear anything about the fact that he married a Canaanite woman. But notice she conceived and she bare a son named Okay, and of course she conceived again and bare a son, and his name was Onan. Now we understand about and Onan. Okay. Thing about it is, and we're going to get to it in just a second, but we see their problem and we see their issue. Okay, and she yet again conceived and bare a son and called his name Shelah. And he was at Chazib when she bare him. Okay, verse number 6 reads, and Judah took a wife for his son, whose name was Tamar. Okay, whose name was Tamar. Yes, the same name as the daughter of David. Okay, and Judah's firstborn, was wicked in the sight of Yah, and Yah slew him. And Judah said unto Onan, do the Levirate thing, and go in there to your brother's wife. Do the will of the Most High, and sleep with your brother's wife, so that seed may be given in your brother's name. I've often wondered, being a brother, okay? I mean, like, can you imagine hearing that one day? You're minding your own business and you're being told, hey, oh, by the way, since your brother died, you got to go in there and, you got to go into his widow, and you must do what must be done. Yes, you have to do this. Can you imagine living under that and hearing that is something that you have to do? It's something that I've often imagined, if we were living back then in the day, how it would be to even hear something like that, right? And Judah said to Onan, go into your brother's wife and marry her, and raise up seed unto your brother. Okay. And Onan didn't say nothing, man. I don't want her. Look at her. Look, I don't like the way she looked, man. I don't like it. He didn't say anything about that. In fact, Onan knew that the seed would not be his, and it came to pass that when he went in unto his brother's wife, he didn't mind laying down with her. But when it came time for him to conceive of her, he basically pulled out, okay, lest that he should give seed to his brother. And so the Most High looked at this as an evil thing. One, you are not trying to further the nation. Two, you're being disobedient to your father and also to me. And this angered the Most High, and he also killed him doorknob dead. Verse 10, and the thing which he did displeased Yah, wherefore he slew him. Told you. Verse 11, then said Judah to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, look, remain a widow at your father's house till Shelah, my son, be grown. For he said, lest peradventure he die also, as his brethren did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. Now, interesting thing is that some scholars say that the reason why he dishonored Tamar and sent her back to her daddy's house was because secretly he kind of thought, well, maybe it's her fault that all this stuff happened. Maybe it's her fault. Okay, maybe she's the reason why this misfortune has come upon my boys. You know, it's like a father saying, you know, she probably has something to do with my son's, with my son's demise. No, your boys were just bad. Okay. So in looking at it, Tamar went back to her daddy's house, which was a disgrace. So she was disgraced. Okay. And in the process of time, the daughter of Shua, Judah's wife, died, and Judah was comforted and went up unto the sheep shearers to Timnath. He and his friends, Hirah, the Adulamite. And it was told Tamar, saying, behold, thy father-in-law goes up to Timnath to shear his sheep. She said, okay. You didn't give me Shelah like you said you was. I got something for you. And she meant that too. I got something for you. And when Judah saw her, okay, and in fact, let me back up. Verse number 14. And she put her widow's garments off of her and covered herself with the veil and wrapped herself. Now, understand this. She wrapped herself and sat in an open place. So what she did was she took off her widow clothes, right? She put a veil upon her face, covered her head, put a veil upon her face, but then she wrapped herself in what I believe to be some very tight clothing, and then she stood in the way where Judah would find her. And Judah, now being a widow himself, okay, he saw her, and he said, man, look at that. Okay? And he turned unto her by the way and said, hey, let me come in unto you. You know what I'm saying? Let me come on in here and we talk about this. For she knew not that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, what are you going to give me so that you can come in unto me? So in other words, she had to really think like a prostitute, right? She had to think like a woman of the street. And so she's asking him this question, what are you going to give me? All the time knowing that she has a plan. And he said, I will send you a kid of the flock. Well, there's that kid again. Okay, there's that kid again. Something else is going to happen. And she said, okay, so you're saying you're going to give me that, but I need you to give me a down payment. Okay, because if you ain't got the goods right now, and you want me to, hey, you need to at least give me a down payment. So then he said, well, what do you want for a down payment? What do you want for a pledge? And she said, I know exactly what I want. I want your signet and your bracelet and your staff that is in your hand. Now, please keep in mind that this is like giving someone today your driver's license, your your social security card, and your passport. I mean, this is serious, right? This is serious. It's like, you may as well say, it's like giving them your credit card and your driver's license, right? And your social security card. So this was very expensive, right? And he gave it to her. I guess he saw that shape and saw her like, shoot, I don't care what I got to give you. I don't care what I got. What you want? You want my shoes too? What? Whatever you want, I give to you. And he gave it to her and came in unto her, and she conceived by him. And she arose and went away and laid by her veil from her, okay, and put on the garments of her widowhood. So she started being a widow again, right? Like nothing had happened. And Judah sent the kid by the hand of his friend the Adulamite to receive the pledge from the woman's hand, and he didn't even find it. She was gone, right? She was gone. She got what she needed, got what she wanted. Then he asked the men of that place, saying, "Hey, so where is that harlot? Where's the temple prostitute?" This was believed to be the kind of a prostitute that they had them, the Kadeshah. They were basically temple prostitutes. They hooked sexuality with spirituality, right? And so he thought that she was one of them. Well, as we take a look here, they said, man, we don't have one of them around here. I don't know what you're talking about. There is no one here that does that, or that, that is a prostitute like that. No, we don't know what you're talking about. And he returned to Judah and said, man, there wasn't no woman there. What? There was no prostitute. And Judah said, okay, fine, let her have it. lest we be ashamed. Why? Because people would have known that he'd be like, man, you must be out of your mind. You gave your credit card and your driver's license and your social security card to somebody just so you could get some? Like, really, dude? You wanted it that bad? He said, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid, and thou hast not found her. Look at verse number 24. And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, ooh, Tamar, your daughter-in-law, man, she got caught up. She was out there playing the harlot, and she actually got pregnant. Man, that news spread all over the place, and it came back to Judah. And Judah said, bring her forth and let her be burned. So in other words, Judah was like off with her head. She did it. She's going to pay the price for it. Basically this was capital punishment. It's like, look, you're about to leave here. Okay. Pray, do whatever you need to do, but you're about to leave here because of what you did. Well, look at verse number 25. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, said, oh, you want to kill me? I mean, like really? Like, you want to do this? Okay, so at least let me tell you who impregnated me. Okay? I mean, like, you want to deal with me, but I mean, what about the dude I was with? You want to know who that is? You want to know who the dude was? By the man whose these are, I am with child. So in other words, the dude that got me pregnant, guess what? This is his stuff. Discern, I pray thee, whose are these? Let's see, whose staff could this be? Whose signet and whose bracelet and other things could this be? Let's see, whose name is on this credit card? Whose name is on this social security card? Whose name is on this driver's license? Dun, 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 right? And Judah acknowledged them. Verse number 26. And Judah acknowledged them and said, man, I'm busted. She caught me. She's been more righteous than I because I didn't give her Shelah, my son. And he knew her again no more. Okay? And it came to pass in that time of her travail that behold, twins were in her womb. I imagine right here, when he found out that it was her, he was like, that was you? That was you? Like, shoot. And it came to pass in the time of her travail that behold, twins were in her womb. And it came to pass, here comes another layer to the onion. And it came to pass that when she travailed, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took and bound upon his hand a scarlet thread. A scarlet thread, saying, this came out first. And it came to pass that as he drew back his hand, that behold, his brother came out, and she said, how hast thou broken forth? This breach be upon thee. Therefore his name is called Pharez. Okay? His name was called Pharez. And afterward came out his brother, and had a scarlet thread upon his hand, and his name was called Zerah. Not Zerah, but Zerah. Well, why is that significant? Before we get into chapter 39, because you notice the child that was said to come out first was the child that had the scarlet or red thread tied around its wrist, which brings you back to Esau and Jacob. This is a repeating, if you will, or like they say, history. Sometimes they say history repeats itself, but history really doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. So now this is another instance of the Jacob and Esau story, where the one that is the red, okay, the one with the Edom thread tied around its wrist, was the one that was said to come out first. Who came out first between Jacob and Esau? Well, it was Esau, right? But notice the one that ends up getting the blessing was the younger brother, okay? The one that was not first. And so that is Faraz. And so now here we have a repeating of that. So now we have another story, another narrative where we've got another version of Esau and Jacob. The onion keeps peeling and we keep going from layer to layer to layer. Well, look at verse number, chapter 39, verse number 1. And Joseph was brought down to Mitzrayim, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard in Mitzrayim, bought him of the hands of the Ishmaelites, which had brought him down there. And Yah was with Joseph, and he prospered, right? And he was in his house, in his master's house, the Egyptian, verse number 3. And his master saw that Yah was with him, and Yah made all that he did to prosper in his hands. And Joseph found grace in his sight, and he served him, and he made him overseer over his house and all that he had put into his hands. Okay? And it came to pass that from time to time that he had made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, that Yah blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. Now, let me just stop right there and let me highlight something that I think is of significance. Back in our discussions concerning the B'nai Elohim, we mentioned to you the controversy, if you will, about the geographical locations of these B'nai Elohim. We know that according to Deuteronomy 32, verses 8 and 9, we understand that there were divisions of land that were given out that relates to Genesis 11, and we've had that whole controversy. We've talked about that, but here we find evidence that the Most High, even before he wages war against the Elohim of Mitzrayim, okay, the gods of Mitzrayim, even before that, he has control over the territory of the Egyptians, and he is able to bless Joseph and enter into that territory and bless Joseph, which goes against the whole hierarchy of, you know, this God can only do stuff in this geographical territory and so forth and so on. Okay, even though there is something to be said for that, okay, because we have Naaman taking two amounts of dirt so that he can sacrifice to Yah once he gets back into Assyria. Well, here we find that, that once again, we find that the Most High was able to do what he wanted to do in Mitzrayim because he is Lord of the entire earth, as opposed to certain doctrines that come forth and says that Yah was bound by certain geographical locations or boundaries, if you will. And the blessings of Yah was upon him and all that he did in the house and in the field. And he left all that he had in Joseph's hands, okay, verse 6, and he knew not aught save the bread that he did eat. In other words, Joseph's handling everything. I ain't got to worry about it, okay? Verse number 7, and it came to pass that after these things that his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph. And she said, come sleep with me, dude. What's interesting here is that in ancient Mitzrayim and perhaps even in certain other later dynasties, the Egyptian women could have more than one husband. The Egyptian women could divorce and they could have more than one husband. It was not like we have it today, or even in our particular culture, where a husband can have more than one wife, right? And it is the husband that is able to divorce. Well, in Mitzrayim, it was completely backwards. The woman was able to have more than one husband. And there's also something else that is really akin to Egypt and Mitzrayim that we're going to discover here in just a second. So she said, lie with me, but he refused. Said, I ain't doing that. Must be out of your mind. My master had got me, shoot, you trying to get me killed? And he trusts me. I ain't about to ruin this for nothing. So she kept on day by day, okay? She spake unto Joseph day by day, as you see here. In other words, she wouldn't stop, okay? She wouldn't stop until she was going to get her some Joseph. Well, notice in verse number 11, and it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business. And there was none of the men of the house there within. Now, whether this was arranged by Potiphar's wife, we don't know. Maybe she saw Joseph coming and said, y'all get out of here, leave me alone. Y'all get out of here. Go to the market, the one that's 3 miles away, and give me some. Well, she sent them all away. I believe that she may have sent them all away, right? And if these were individuals that were in the house, then they were actually taking care of the house duties or some of the house duties, okay? So what is it that Joseph could have possibly been doing? Well, based upon some of the scholarship of some other scholars, when it mentions that Joseph left his coat or his clothes in her hand, we're going to find out something very interesting about that, and we're going to discover what may have really happened. Okay? In fact, let's deal with that once I get back. Hi, I'm Melchior Uriel, and I want to come to your church or to sit down with you, Pastor, and have a build where we discuss, open up scriptures, and discuss the realities behind the Hebrew way of life and following the laws. Please call the number below, and if unanswered, please leave a message. Thank you. Shalom.
Makes you laugh.
All right, so let's deal with this because this gets really interesting. Let's take a look here. Notice what we find when we come to verse number 11. And it came to pass about this time that Joseph went into the house to do his business, and there was none of the other men there. Now, I believe that she sent them out, and notice she caught him by his garment, knowing that she was not going to get caught. She caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. I done begged you to come sleep with me now. Come on here to this bed. And he left his garment in her hand and fled and got him out. Now, what scholars say about this and what scholars understand to be true is that he left running out of the house just about naked. Okay? She got her hands on his clothes, and he, because he would have had to have either pull out of it, okay? I don't know if they struggled. Imagine his garment being like a long sweater, okay? Or even it could have been something that was wrapped around him, but the way that the garments were made, they were made of whole cloth, and you literally dropped it over your arms as your arms were raised. For him to have left and to left that in her hands, there is a possibility that he took it off to do his business. Why do you say that? I say that that is a possibility because in Mitzrayim, this was a place where they did have indoor bathrooms. One of the observations of the Greeks and one of the observations of some of the neighboring people groups is that those Egyptians, they are backwards. Most people go outside to the bathroom, thus the outhouse, but the Egyptians have their bathrooms inside their homes, okay? So when Joseph went in to do his business, there is a possibility that he literally went in to do his business, especially since there were other servants there, okay? that would have normally been there. And I believe that she actually ushered them out and told them to get out because she knew what she wanted to do. Well, as we take a look here, we look at verse number 13, and it came to pass that when she saw that he had left his garments in her hand, and that she wasn't going to give him none, and that he was fled forth, she thought, man, he going to tell on me, and I'm about to lose this good marriage, and Potiphar going to kick me out. So she concocted a story that she called upon the men of the house. Okay, now she can find them, but of course she couldn't find them before. And she spake unto them and said, see, he hath brought, talking about her husband, he hath brought an Hebrew unto us to mock us. And he came in unto me to lie with me, and I cried with a loud voice. And it came to pass that when I cried rape, like most women have done throughout the centuries, when he heard that I lifted up my voice and cried, that he left his garment with me and fled and got him out. And she laid up his garment by her until Potiphar came home. And notice what happens. And she spake unto him according to these words, saying, the Hebrew servant which you brought in unto us came in unto me to mock me. So now notice what's being said here, and this is very interesting. So she now looks, she's going to say, yeah, he's a Hebrew servant. She wasn't saying that before, right? She was saying, sleep with me. You notice when she called the men, what did she say? Now, these men were slaves, but if you notice, what did she say in verse number 14? Brought in a Hebrew to mock us. So she's using the fact that they're Egyptians, and she's looking at this and putting this in a light that it's Egyptians against Hebrews, and that Hebrew came in to mock me. Okay. And notice what's happening here. She's purposely building wedges and causing division and demonizing Joseph just to make herself look good. Okay. And notice in verse number 18, she's now that her husband's home, notice what she tells him. And it came to pass that when his master heard these words, which she spake unto him, saying, after this manner did thy servant to me, and his wrath was kindled, because she actually told the story as if Joseph did lie with her. Okay. She told the story as if it actually happened, and it didn't. So Joseph is about to go to prison for rape, something that he didn't do. Verse number 20, and Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place of the king's prisoner, where the king's prisoners were bound. And he was there in the prison, but Yah was with Joseph and showed mercy and gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hands all the prisoners that were in the prison, and whatsoever they did there, he was the doer of it. Okay, which means that basically he was helping out with all of the prisons. Okay, it doesn't mean that he was the warden of the prison, but he was just helping out with the prisoners. He was kind of like an aide. The keeper of the prison looked not unto anything that was under his hand, because Yah was with him, and and that which he did, Yah made it to prosper. Verse number 1 of chapter 40, headed down the home stretch. And it came to pass that after these things, that the butler of the king of Egypt and his baker had offended their lord the king of Egypt, and Pharaoh was wroth against the two of them, right? And he put them into the prison, and he put them inwards in the house and the guard, and that's right where Joseph was. And guess what? And the captain of the guard charged Joseph with them, and he served them. But notice what happens in verse number 5. They dreamed a dream. Now, what we saw before, where Joseph got himself into trouble. Again, the onion just keeps peeling. Joseph got himself into trouble through dreams. Now, dreams are going to get him out of trouble and is going to get him exalted. Now, Joseph learns some maturity. He learns some ability. Egyptians held dreams to be very high because they thought of dreams as being the school of light. That's literally what they called it. They called their dreams the school of light. A person could receive instruction from the Most High. A person could receive correction. A person would get instruction and understanding from problems that had been plaguing them. They called dreams the school of light. So here, Joseph is going to prove himself to be a true master of dreams, which is what their brothers called him when they said, man, and let's see what happens to this master of dreams. That's literally what they said. It's been interpreted as, I should say, it's been translated as that dreamer. We'll see what will happen with that dreamer. But really they said, let's see what will happen if this Lord of Dreams, okay? They're saying it maybe somewhat sarcastic, but yeah, they said Lord of Dreams. Now, Joseph is about to use dreams, okay? Dreams are going to become the vehicle through which he is released and exalted. And they dreamed a dream, both of them, each man his dream in one night. Each man according to the interpretation of his dream, the butler and the baker of the kings of Egypt, which were bound in prison. And Joseph came in unto them in the morning, and he looked upon them, and behold, they were sad. Okay, and he asked Pharaoh's officers that were with him in the wards of his Lord's house, saying, wherefore look ye so sadly today? In other words, what in the world is your problem? And he said unto them, we have dreamt a dream, and there is no interpreter of it. And Joseph said unto them, do not interpretations belong to the Most High? Don't they belong to him? Answer is yes. Tell me, I pray thee. And the chief butler told his dream to Joseph. And he says, look, okay, so when the dream started, okay, I was minding my own business, right, in this dream. And after I saw my ant-teeth, look, behold, a vine was in front of me. And in the vine were 3 branches. See, there were 3 branches. And it was, you know, it had budded and stuff, right? And it shot forth, and all of a sudden there were clusters of grapes. And Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. I mean, I looked down, and there was this cup in my hand and stuff. And next thing I know, the cup was full of wine, and I pressed them and stuff, and I gave them unto Pharaoh. So I don't know what this dream means. And Joseph said unto him, this is the interpretation of it. The 3 branches are 3 days, yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thine head, and restore thee unto the place, and you shall deliver Pharaoh's cup into his hand, after the former manner, when thou wast his butler. In other words, man, you're going to get your job back. You're going to get your job back. You're going to get some severance pay. Man, you got it made. But think on me. Look out for your boy. Once you get there, look out for your boy. Okay, because I told you this was going to happen. Look out for your boy and show kindness, I pray thee, unto me, and make mention of me to Pharaoh. Put in a good word for me, dude. You know I'm down here, okay? Bring me out of this house. Tired of this prison. For indeed I was stolen away out of the land of the Hebrews, and here also have I done nothing that they should put me into this dungeon. Verse 16, when the chief baker saw the interpretation was good, because, hey, the other guy was over there like, oh man, dude said that, oh man, in 3 days, oh man, I hope that's true. When the chief baker heard the good news, he tried to hit the lottery too. And he said unto Joseph, I was in my dream. Okay, so my dream had there was like 3 baskets. Okay, so I was minding my own business, and then there was like 3 baskets on my head, and in the uppermost basket there was like all sorts of, like, you know, donuts and stuff, and pieces of bread and stuff for Pharaoh, and the birds and stuff, they were just flying down, and they were just all pecking and stuff all into the basket, and they was eating it. And Joseph answered and said unto him, dude, this is the interpretation thereof. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Yep, 3 days. You got 3 days. Yet within 3 days shall Pharaoh lift up thy head from off thee, and shall hang thee on a tree, and the birds shall eat the flesh from off thee. The actual foretelling of what was going to happen to the baker is interesting, because there's nothing within these dreams that would suggest the outcome of these, but it's, according to this narrative, the baker the baker was beheaded and then impaled. Okay. So, and of course the birds would eat off the body and so forth and so on. So we see here, and it came to pass in the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants, and he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand. Verse number 22 reads, and he hanged the chief baker as Joseph had interpreted unto them. Yet, and here's the deep part, yet did not the chief butler remember Joseph, but he forgot all about Joseph. He forgot all about that amazing experience he had, that he was going to be free, he's going to be restored back to his position, you're going to get your severance pay, you're going to be good, man, you're going to get back pay, and man, you're going to be good. He forgot all of what he heard from Joseph. But within these chapters is laid out that the seeds have been planted for what Israel is going to go through as a nation, because the foreparents of the nations, the very sons themselves, they sowed the seed of slavery. They sowed the seed of mistreatment of Joseph, and they sowed the seed of betrayal, okay, in deceiving their own father. They did all of these things, and now it's going to come back to bite them. So we will return next week, Yah willing, where we will begin with 41 and verse number 1. Be right back, and then we'll get your questions and comments concerning this Torah portion. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Melki Uriel, and I'm excited to offer you a brand new course at Navi Beit Academy. One of the first courses that we're developing at Navi Beit Academy, and we're welcoming you. It's called the Hebrew Memorization Course, and perhaps you've been reading some Hebrew reference materials, and you note that the paragraphs are numbered by the Hebrew alphabet, as well as the verses. And you're wondering, well, how do I know which is which? If I want to go to a particular paragraph, how do I do that? You may also be wondering, well, how do I memorize the 10 Commandments? I want to be able to memorize the 10 Commandments and know them frontwards and back, and be able to recall them in order, and to know which commandment is which. As well as the Hebrew alphabet. I want to know the Hebrew alphabet and their numerical values from 1 to 400. I'm here to tell you that you can do that now. Now there is a course here at Navi Beit Academy where you will memorize the Hebrew alphabet from 1 to 22 and their numerical values from 1 to 400, as well as the 10 Commandments. All anyone will be able to have to do is to just either speak the number or the Hebrew alphabet, and you will be able to recall it. It's as simple as thinking of a number like 19, and 19 in the Hebrew alphabet is Kaf, which its numerical value is 100, and its paleographic Hebrew symbol is that of the horizon. Let's say 3, right? Just a random number. 3 in the Hebrew alphabet is Gimel, and its paleographic Hebrew symbol is that of the foot, and also its number is 3. But guess what? Since it's 1 through 10, number 3 would represent the third commandment of the 10 Commandments, which is, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Well, how am I able to do that? I'm able to do that because I've been using this system for some time now, and I'm willing to offer to you through this course at Navi Bait Academy. That's right. You can take your time. If it takes you a week, if it takes you a month, if it takes you 2 years, it's up to you to just study at your own pace. The only thing we ask you to do is just to dig in with us. And I'll even let you in on a secret. You can start the course for free. So thank you very much, and we can't wait to see you on the other side.
All right, so here we are. We're back once again, and I'm just wondering, I don't know if we have any questions concerning this Torah portion. I don't know if we have any questions or not, but we're going to open it up for a few moments so that we can have a question or two about this particular portion of the Torah that we have discussed today. So let me know if you do. We want you to ask your questions, okay? Now's the time. The call-in line is open. You can feel free. But yeah, go ahead and ask your questions. If not, then we will move right on into our next segment. I'll give it just a minute or two. And hey, otherwise, like I said, we will definitely keep it moving. Okay, looks like we're good. Looks like no one has any questions. So hey, be right back. We're going to go right into our next segment.
Good, you're back. Did you know there's a temple with a motorcycle as its centerpiece? More on that later. I'm Neom, and today's episode is about obscure religions. As usual, I might be wrong about something. If you know something I don't, then please leave a comment. Also, I could really use your help to support my channel. Leave a like, subscribe for more content, and click the bell to learn about new videos. Let's get into it. The Raelian movement, also known as Raelism, was founded in 1973 by French race car driver Claude Vorilhon. Claude allegedly encountered a UFO hovering over a volcano in south-central France. The short, black-haired creature that emerged was described as being humanoid, apart from pale green skin and almond-shaped eyes. The alien imbued Claude with divinity, gave him a new name, Rael, which means ambassador, and commissioned him to spread the New Commandments, as well as the truth about the origin of mankind. Since the days of his apotheosis, the human formerly known as Claude has been responsible for 2 books, over 18,000 religious documents, and an estimated 100,000 followers, ranging from North America to Europe and Africa, and even as far east as Japan. They use the Bible as their primary source of scripture, but with some pretty unique takes on the meanings of certain passages. For For instance, they believed that the flood was caused by nukes and that Noah's Ark was a spacecraft, the Tower of Babel was a rocket, and the parting of the Red Sea was done by the use of a high-tech repulsion beam.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That last part got me, okay? That was just funny. This shows you that, yes, it's crazy, but you know what else it shows you? People will believe just about anything. But also it's suggestive of something else. That maybe, I don't know, you think about the connection between extraterrestrials and religion. So this is supposedly really started by an extraterrestrial. Are there other religions that maybe were influenced by other beings?
The technology responsible for these feats was stolen by mankind, thus calling down the wrath of the alien race, who call themselves the Elohim. But by joining the Raelian movement and submitting to their doctrine, followers will be saved from the nuclear apocalypse at the end of time, whereupon you'll be cloned from a piece of bone from your forehead, and your soul will be transferred to the new body to live with the Elohim on their home planet. Woodism.
Okay.
Like you, when I first heard the name, I assumed it was going to involve trees and nature, or at least IKEA furniture. But the truth is even stranger. The religion is based around 1950s movie director Ed Wood, who directed horror movies such as Bride of the Monster and Bride and the Beast, the two of which are completely unrelated, apparently. The religion itself was founded in 1996 by Steve Galindo, who was, needless to say, a pretty big Woodhead. He found a fascination in Wood's movies and believed the themes and characters to be a depiction of perfect love and morality. And
okay, so how do you convince people that a movie or even a director or a creator of a movie, how do you go there? I mean, I'm sorry, I have a problem with this. This is crazy.
Woodians, or Woodites, as they call themselves on the official forums page, basically just try to lead generous, loving, moral lives, as shown on TV at least. There isn't a whole lot more information about their history and beliefs that I could find, but they do have an official website, link in the description, which is just weird. Really weird. Universe people. Honestly, who comes up with these names? They didn't even try as hard as the Woodites. Hey, did you ever come up with that name for our new religion like I asked you to? Oh, what? Yeah, of course I did. It's a universe people. You're a genius. Universe people, also called the Cosmic People of Light Powers, were founded in the 1990s by a Slovakian by the name of Ivo A. Benda, who might just have been on a bit of a benda when this idea came to him. The universe people believe that there's a fleet of alien spaceships commanded by the general known as Ashtar that regularly orbits Earth, looking for opportunities to help and waiting for doomsday to transport their followers off-planet. Followers are known for their desire to abolish all forms of media, as well as for their refusal to acknowledge the existence of legal tender and copyrights for some reason.
Okay.
Their practices can be summed up in 4 simple rules. Eat healthy, be kind, take care of the planet, and most importantly, don't get chipped. Seriously, this phrase is all over their website, which can be found in the description right below the subscribe button, which is right below the like button. The universe people tend to be a very paranoid group, whose biggest concern is having microchips implanted into them by pretty much everyone and everything. Replacing barcodes with chips. We will not be chipped. Don't get chipped. Chips ahoy? More like chips annoy. I'm kidding, I totally made that last one up, but really, it doesn't stop there. Don't get chipped by saurians. Stop chipping things and people. Stop to chip slavery. Stop to chip totality. I am against chipping people. Saurians want to chip you and things. This website is even stranger than the Woodism one, but I wouldn't recommend visiting it unless you want to have a seizure, because their color scheme could blind an eyeless, wide-mouthed blind cat from 100 yards. Church of Euthanasia. Yeah, so basically this one is about loving each other and saving the planet, sharing your crops or whatever. No, this one is about exactly what it sounds like. The founder is even quoted as saying that it's the only anti-human...
Is that a dude?
...religion. Some of their values include antinatalism, which is the abstinence of procreation, absurdism, which is the idea that the world lacks meaning and that human existence is absurd, and misanthropy, which is the general hatred, dislike, distrust, or contempt for the human species, human behavior, and human nature.
I mean, that sounds alien within itself, but
Some of their favorite sayings include, human extinction while we still can,
I mean, like, really? Really?
and save the planet, kill yourself. And
Oh my goodness. This is definitely
those are the
crazy.
tamest ones. If I read the rest of them, it would probably get my channel deleted. At this point in my research, I was so repulsed and disgusted with what I was reading that I had decided not to include this in the video at all. But then I thought, you know what? I've already done the research, and unfortunately, I can't unread any of it, so I might as well warn people. If you decide to research this topic yourself and you come across the Church of Euthanasia, don't even touch it. I barely skimmed the surface of what can be found about this religion because I can barely stand talking about it, but take my word for it, this is not the youth group you want to be in. And now, I'm going to go shower for about 6 hours. Bullet Baba. On December 3rd, 1988, Om Singh Rathore was driving his Royal Enfield, or Bullet motorcycle, near the city of Jodhpur, India, when he lost control, hit a tree, and was launched 20 feet, where he died on impact. He was discovered the following day, and his bike was transported to the local police station. Soon after, the police found that the motorcycle had gone missing, only to turn up back at the crash site. They brought it back to the station and emptied the tank. Once again, the bike vanished, returning to the location of the incident. Fearing occult forces, they gave it back to the family, who quickly sold it to a man in Gujarat, which, by the way, is like 350 miles away. To their shock, the bike found its way once more to where the wreck happened.
Oh,
The story spread quickly, and people from all over India began regarding the bike and its deceased owner as deities. A temple was erected around the now encased motorcycle, where travelers would pray for safe journeys and other miscellaneous favors. Many claim that road accidents have seen a dramatic decrease since the temple was erected. However, this could be due to the fact that their main offering was alcohol, specifically hard liquor like whiskey and rum, which meant less for them. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for.
needless to say, my brothers and sisters, people will believe anything. That's why I say you can't believe something just for the sake of believing something, like Christianity tells you to do, right? Every one of these individuals felt like, ooh, I'm inspired. Ooh, I'm inspired to have this motorcycle in this temple, and we worship around it. I mean, people in their convictions, they may be sincere, but they can be sincerely wrong. I don't care that individuals say, well, I just got faith. I got faith in even though no one can die for your sins, I just got faith that it's true. Well, you can have all the faith that you want. This just shows you that people will believe in absolutely anything. Be right back. All right, brothers and sisters, it is time for Hebrew Money, and I have a video that was sent to me by our Minister of Economics, that I want to show you. It shows you something interesting about XRP. This is just going to let us know that something is happening, something has happened when it comes to XRP, and we need to really take a listen.
On the same shelf as Tesla, and NASDAQ just put XRP on the same shelf as Tesla, and almost nobody's reading it correctly. Everyone's calling it a trade product. It's not. NASDAQ doesn't list leveraged ETFs on speculative assets. The asset has to clear regulatory checkpoints. deep futures markets, prime brokerage relationships, institutional plumbing that did not exist around XRP 2 years ago. Most people are watching the price chart, but the real signal is what just got confirmed about XRP without anyone saying it out loud. The infrastructure institutions need to participate at scale is being built right now in real time while everyone's distracted. Check out the full video. The link is in the bio. NASDAQ just put XRP on the...
So this is saying that there is something going on with XRP. Okay, we've mentioned XRP before. Our brother Adrian has mentioned that we should get Bitcoin as well as XRP. He's encouraging us to look into it. He's not giving us financial advice as a financial planner, but he's just simply giving us some information that may be, that may be very helpful to us. The fact that the NASDAQ just put XRP on the shelf next to Tesla, and you know how Tesla stock is. I mean, it's one of those foundational stocks, almost like, what can I think of it? Oh man, starts with an N. Everyone's getting it. Nvidia. So yeah, it's increasing in popularity. It's increasing in importance. And XRP is something that you should consider. Do your research, consider it. I think our brother Adrian mentioned to us that you can get an app called Uphold, and you can actually just nickel and dime it if you have to. Put $10 in there every now and then, or every week, okay? Do what you can, basically. Do what you can. This young lady, Dr. Kamala Stevenson, she is saying you need to watch XRP because something is happening with XRP that's very important. Also, we're going to have another video here about Hebrew money, but also I saw where there are certain companies that are trying to slow XRP down, and they're actually suing XRP because they're, again, if it's nothing, okay, they're not trying to sue the Trump coin or all that foolishness, but you notice they are coming against XRP. Why? Because it is significant. So you would be wise to do your research and to follow accordingly. So let's go ahead and let's look at our other video to give us some money lessons as we talk about Hebrew money.
You get paid. Maybe it's your paycheck. Maybe it's money from a side hustle. Imagine this. You get paid. Maybe it's your paycheck. Maybe it's money from a side hustle. Maybe it's just a small transfer that finally hit your account. For a brief moment, you feel relief. Your balance isn't terrifying anymore. But then the cycle begins. Bills, groceries, gas, subscriptions you forgot about, and suddenly that money disappears faster than you expected. If you've ever checked your bank account before buying something small, if you've ever stood in the grocery store doing mental math in your head, if you've ever said, maybe next time when friends invite you out because your balance is already tight, then you know the real problem with being broke isn't just the number in your bank account. It's the constant stress, the mental calculations, the quiet anxiety every time you swipe your card, and the worst part, everywhere you look, people give the same advice. Just save more. Make a budget. Cut your coffee. Right, thanks. Revolutionary advice. But what if the real problem isn't that you're bad with money? What if the real problem is that nobody ever taught you how to build a saving habit from zero? Because today I'm going to show you something ridiculously simple. Not a complicated investment strategy. Not some financial trick that only works if you already have thousands saved. This is something almost anyone can start today. And it's called the $10 habit. Now I know what you're thinking. $10? That sounds way too small to matter. But stay with me for a minute because this isn't about the money. It's about something much more powerful. Rewiring the way your brain interacts with money. And before we go deeper, if you like simple strategies about money, investing, and building financial freedom from scratch, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and it lets me keep making videos like this. Now here's something interesting about the world right now. Nearly half of young adults today are living paycheck to paycheck. Not because they're lazy, not because they don't care about money, but because the system around them makes it extremely easy to spend and incredibly hard to build momentum. Most people actually want to save money. They try budgeting apps, they try spreadsheets, they promise themselves they'll start saving next month. But the problem is that most financial advice assumes one thing, that your income is stable, that every month you know exactly how much money is coming in. But that's not the reality anymore. Today, millions of people work side hustles, freelance jobs, or gig work. One week you might make $300, the next week $1,200, then maybe the next week almost nothing. Your income looks less like a straight line and more like a roller coaster. And traditional money advice completely falls apart in that situation. Take the classic 50-30-20 rule. 50% of income for needs, 30% for wants, 20% for savings. Sounds great on paper, but when you're barely covering rent and groceries, there is no 30% for wants. It's more like 95% for survival, and 5% hoping nothing breaks this month. And when people try to force themselves into those traditional systems, something predictable happens. They start strong. Maybe they set up an automatic transfer to savings. Maybe they decide to save a percentage of every paycheck. For a few days it feels responsible. Then life happens. Gas, groceries, unexpected bills, and suddenly that money moves right back out of savings. Now instead of feeling responsible, you feel like you failed. You start telling yourself the same story a lot of people believe. I'm just bad with money. But the truth is, most people don't fail at saving because they lack discipline. They fail because the system they're trying to follow was never designed for someone starting from zero. And that's exactly why the $10 habit works differently. Because instead of fighting math, it works with psychology. And once you understand the logic behind it, you'll realize why something as small as $10 can quietly change the entire trajectory of your financial life. And the rule itself is almost embarrassingly simple. Every time money comes into your life, you save $10. Not sometimes, not when you feel motivated, every time. Paycheck, save $10. Side hustle payment, save $10. Sold something online, save $10. Someone sends you money, save $10. That's it. No percentages, no complicated formulas, just one simple action that repeats over and over again. And I know some of you are already thinking the same thing people always say when they hear this for the first time. $10? That's nothing. But here's the truth. The $10 habit isn't about the money. It's about rewiring your brain. Because right now, most people have a habit that works against them. Money comes in, and it immediately disappears. Bills, food, subscriptions, random purchases. The brain gets used to that cycle. Income arrives, money is spent, balance goes back to zero. But the moment you introduce a small, consistent saving action into that cycle, something interesting happens. You interrupt the pattern. Now the sequence becomes, income arrives, $10 moves to savings, then spending happens. That tiny change sends a powerful signal to your brain. I'm someone who saves. And over time, that identity becomes automatic. Now let me show you how to actually set this up so it works. The first step is extremely important. You open a completely new savings account, not the one you already use, not the one where money constantly moves in and out, a brand new one. It needs to start at zero. Think of it as a clean financial slate. And here's something most people skip, but it actually matters a lot. Give the account a name that means something to you. Something like Freedom Fund, Safety Net, Future Me. Or even something funny like Finally Not Broke. It sounds small, but naming the account creates an emotional connection to it. When you see that name in your banking app, it reminds you what that money is actually for. Now, step 2. You choose a trigger point, a clear rule for when the $10 gets saved. For some people, it's every paycheck. For others, it might be every time they receive $100 or more. If you work gigs or freelance jobs, maybe the rule is, any day you earn $150 or more, you move $10 to savings. The exact number doesn't matter as much as the consistency. You just need a simple trigger your brain can remember. But here's the part that might surprise you. You don't automate it. I know almost every financial expert says the opposite. Set it and forget it. But for this habit, automation actually removes the most important part. You need to manually move the $10 yourself. Every single time. Because when you physically make that transfer, something happens psychologically. Your brain connects the action with the reward. Money came in, you saved something, your savings number goes up, and that small win creates a feedback loop. You start wanting to see that number grow. Maybe one week you trigger the rule 3 times, that's $30 saved. Another week, maybe 4 times, now it's $40, and suddenly you have momentum. Now let's pause for a second, because some of you are probably doing the math. $10 a week, that's about $40 a month, and that might not sound like much, but compared to saving nothing, it's the beginning of a completely different financial future. But it's infinitely more powerful than the number most people currently have saved: 0. And here's the interesting part. Once your brain gets used to that $10 disappearing and your life doesn't collapse, something shifts. You start thinking, what if I save $20 on good weeks? Then maybe $30, then $50 when things are going well. I've seen people go from saving absolutely nothing to consistently putting away $200 a month, all because they started with $10. Now let's zoom out for a moment and look at the bigger picture, because something strange is happening in the economy right now. Financial education is still incredibly low. Most young adults were never taught how money actually works. Schools barely cover it. Families are often figuring it out themselves. Everyone is basically improvising. But at the same time, something fascinating is happening. Millions of freelancers, creators, and gig workers are now earning serious income. People who started making a few $100s on the side are scaling their work into full careers. So what separates someone making $800 a month on a side hustle from someone eventually making 6 figures? It's not luck. It's not secret connections. It's financial confidence. The confidence that comes from knowing you can control your money instead of it controlling you. And that confidence often starts with something very small, like proving to yourself that you can save $10 consistently. Because once you build even a small emergency cushion, your entire decision-making process changes. You can take smarter risks. You can invest in tools or skills. You can say no to bad opportunities. You finally have breathing room. And that breathing room is where real financial progress begins. But the most interesting part of this system isn't even the saving itself. It's what happens after you build your first real pile of money. And this is where things start getting interesting. Because money stress doesn't just affect your bank account, it affects everything. The way you make decisions, the opportunities you take, even the relationships you build. When you're constantly worried about money, your brain is always in survival mode. You hesitate to try new things. You avoid risks. You say no to opportunities that might actually move your life forward. But when you build even a small financial cushion, something shifts. You breathe differently. You think differently. You move through the world with a little more confidence.
And I think that we get it. I think that we understand what's being said here. It's kind of like I told my son, I said, hey, never, I don't care how much money comes in, never spend all of your money. Make sure that you always put a little something in savings whenever you get money, right? Because you want to make sure that you have the option of making your money work for you. This is the difference between building wealth and just surviving. When you can put some money aside and let it work for you, then you're building wealth, then you're building security. So, hey, I just wanted to share this with you all. This is something that I feel is important. So, hey, we will be right back with our next segment.
future is coming. Your fight is coming back. Your energy is coming back. Your strength is coming back. Welcome to a new beginning.
You could pray a lot, as much as you want. Everything is coming back, but what's not coming back for you, Mr. T.D. Jakes? What's not coming back is your peace of mind. Most of you guys already know what's going on with this man right here. And the question that I have for his followers is, as a member of his church, if you were in his position, wouldn't it be best to just step down? Just step down. Pass the leadership to someone else. Because as most of you guys know the story behind what's going on. He's been accused again, allegations coming from different angles. He's also filing lawsuit to fight those allegations, obviously. But when is the time that you tell yourself that, you know what, it's over, let me just step aside?
Well, of course, his daughter did take over, and I think that, T.D. Jakes is not a dumb man. T.D. Jakes is a very smart man. He's got some wisdom. He's got some sense. But at the same time, you have to wonder, well, okay, what is he afraid of and what is he hiding? He said that he's been in ministry for, over 40 years, and he's had controversy after controversy, yet he remains standing, blah, blah, blah. Be that as it may, his daughter has taken over, and that, that was a whole scene, that was a whole big thing that was happening. But if you notice, once again, it seems as if he has managed to escape the brunt of the controversy, because he's not in the mainstream media anymore, not in the mainstream news, except for people like this that's trying to remind us and trying to take a piece out of him. So it seems as if he did step aside, but let's hear what this brother has to say concerning the controversy surrounding T.D. Jakes.
It'll be best. Somehow this soap opera that's playing out right now reminds me of King Saul from the scriptures. When Samuel told him that he's no longer will be the king of Israel, it was the first thing he did. He consulted a medium, went against God's commandment, and consulted the medium as if God was going to change his mind.
I don't see where that applies. I really don't see where that applies in this case, but I'm trying to hear the brother out, so I don't see it right now. I don't see it.
Instead of accepting his faith, that's it, I messed up, someone else will be the leader. But no, he kept on pushing and pushing, and as you guys know the whole story from the book of Samuel, you guys know what happened to him and his fate.
Well, I know that many of you may recall when, what was his name? Eddie Long, when Bishop Eddie Long fell, the incriminating words, the incriminating insinuations, if you will, that came from T.D. Jakes, I think they were telling. I think that he was saying, hey, I'm also involved in that, but hey, I really need some grace. I mean, that's what I took away from it. Really need some grace, really need some, And he also said something to the effect of, there's no sense in me trying to fight what I know that I cannot change. It's like, well, what are you talking about while we talk about men on the down low? I mean, what exactly are you talking about, T.D. Jakes? Well, for me, it's not a matter of controversy, to be honest with you. It's just a matter of fact that DNA, if you will, runs through the Christian church, and it runs through the original concept of agape love, which there's a school of thought that says that agape love was originally the intimate physical relationship between an adult male and a boy, which is absolutely sick. But then again, you do find where there's a lot of that going on, even in the Catholic Church. So it's like, well, is it a matter of controversy or is it just simply truth?
And I'm not trying to compare whatsoever the story of King Saul with what's going on with Mr. T.D. Jake. It's just that you see that when you keep pushing, when you have, right now you have a lot of people that are accusing you of different things. Mind you, again, those are allegations. But they keep coming, they're not stopping. You could pray all you want. They're just not stopping. You're trying to fight in court and settle whatever it is that he have to do to fight this issues, but they're not going anywhere. They're in the mind of his followers, the members of his church. All right, the best thing that I think he should do, and I believe most of you guys would agree, is that he needs to step down.
I'm the man for the job. I'm good. Come on, give God some praise. I can feel you. Relax. Give God some praise. We're not gonna let the devil take over our service. No. I'm not gonna let the rain stop me. I'm not gonna let the weather stop me. And I'm sure not gonna let the lions stop me.
So again, it's not that the lion's not gonna stop you, or you're not gonna let anybody stop you. You could continue doing what you're doing. You could stay as the leader of your church and keep on, preach your prosperity gospel message all the time, as long as you want. But that was last year when he said he's not gonna let nobody stop him. Right? And then you heard the crowd. But the allegation, they're not stopping either. So what do we do? What do you do?
If I had $1 for every time there was something negative said about a so-called pastor or preacher, I'd be rich. Let's go to the next segment.
It's time.
How Hebrew are you? Do I know about religion in the Tanakh? Do I know about religion in the Tanakh? Question number 1. In the Tanakh, what best describes acceptable religion before the Most High? In the Tanakh, what best describes acceptable religion before the Most High? Is it A, correct sacrifice alone, or B, public worship without social obligations, or C, covenant obedience expressed through worship, justice, and loyalty, or D, priestly rituals separated from moral conduct, or E, national identity without commanded practice? What is the best response? Mr. Weeze is the first to weigh in with the C. Mr. Weeze weighs in with the C. Raymond Radcliffe also C. Marie Yashaz weighs in with the C. Ben Naftali weighs in with a C. And Miss H weighs in with a C. Going once, going twice. And the answer is C. Covenant obedience expressed through worship, justice, and loyalty. In the Tanakh, what best describes acceptable religion before the Most High? Yes, it is covenant obedience expressed through worship, justice, and loyalty. The references come to us from Deuteronomy chapter 10, verses 12 and 13. Also Micah 6 and 6, Isaiah 1, 11 through 17, and Hosea 6 and 6. And of course, Deuteronomy 10, verses 12 and 13 read, "And now Israel, what doth Yah require of thee, but to fear Yah, thy Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him and serve Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul, to keep the commandments of Yah and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good." Notice he's saying, hey, to keep the commandments of Yah and his statutes. This is a part of acceptable religion before the Most High in the Tanakh. Congratulations to our elder Christine Croning and all others that did get the correct answer. Question number 2. Which statement best reflects the Tanakh's criticism of false religious practice? Which statement best reflects the Tanakh's criticism of false religious practice? Is it A, the problem is always worshiping at the wrong location, or B, the problem is ritual performed while injustice and rebellion continue, or C, the problem is sacrificing too frequently, or D, the problem is using priests instead of prophets, or E, the problem is praying instead of offering animals? Ninpo for life, peace and blessings to you. You're the first to weigh in with the B. Mr. Weeze also weighs in with the B. Mr. Weeze weighs in with the B. Also, Ben Naftali weighs in with the B. Maria Shaz weighs in with the B. Miss H, B. Raymond Radcliffe, B. Looks like we have a consensus. Our elder Christine Croning weighs in with a B. And the answer is B. Which statement best reflects the Tanakh's criticism of false religious practices? The problem is ritual performed while injustice and rebellion continue. References come to us from, again, Isaiah 1:11 through 17, Amos 5:21 through 24, Jeremiah 7:8 through 11, and Proverbs 21:3. Amos 5:21 through 24 reads, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offerings of your fat beasts. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs, for I will not hear the melody of thy viols, but let judgment run down as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. Hallelujah. Question number 3. Which of the following best captures Israel's religious identity in the Tanakh? Which of the following best captures Israel's religious identity in the Tanakh? Is it A, a private belief system with no national responsibilities, or B, a temple-based system that ignores household and community conduct, or C, a covenant nation called to embody holiness in law, worship, family, and land, or D, a philosophical religion centered mainly on abstract doctrines, or E, a priest-only religion inaccessible to common Israelites? Mr. Weeze is the first to weigh in with the C. Minpo for Life also weighs in with the C. Ben Naphtali, C. Maria Shaz, C. Miss H also weighs in with a C. Raymond Radcliffe weighs in with the C. Our elder Christine Croning also weighs in with the C. And the answer is C, a covenant nation called to embody holiness in law, worship, family, and land, captures Israel's religious identity in the Tanakh. In other words, it's a way of life. The reference comes to us from Exodus 19, verses 5 and 6, Leviticus 19, 1 and 2, Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9, and Deuteronomy 26, 16 through 19. The reference Exodus Chapter 19, verses 5 and 6 read, Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the Bnei Israel. Question number 4, last question. In the Tanakh, how is true reverence for Yah most clearly demonstrated? In the Tanakh, how is true reverence for Yah most clearly demonstrated? A, by emotional religious excitement. B, by ancestry alone. C, by outward ritual observance. By outward ritual without obedience. Or D, by fear, love, obedience, justice, and humility before Yah. Or E, by copying the worship systems of surrounding nations. Mr. Weeze was the first to weigh in with a D. Ben Naphtali, also D. Maria Shah's D. Minpo for Life, also a D. Miss H also weighs in with a D. Are there any others that want to weigh in? And the answer is D. Raymond Radcliffe weighs in with the correct answer. It is D. In the Tanakh, how is true reverence for Yah most clearly demonstrated? Well, the answer is D. By fear, love, obedience, justice, and humility before Yah. References come to us from Deuteronomy chapter 10, verses 12 and 13, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, Psalms 15, verses 1 through 5, and Isaiah 66, 1 and 2. The reference Deuteronomy 10, verses 12 to 13 reads, "And now, Israel, what doth Yah, thy Elohim, require of thee, but to fear Yah, thy Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yah, your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul, to keep the commandments of Yah, and his statutes, which I command thee this day, for thy good." Congratulations to everyone that got correct answers, that received correct answers. Thank you so much. This has been How Hebrew Are You?
Hi, I'm Melchior Uriel, and I want to come to your church or to sit down with you, Pastor, and have a build where we discuss, open up scriptures, and discuss the realities behind the Hebrew way of life and following the laws. Please call the number below, and if unanswered, please leave a message. Thank you. Shalom.
For more than 2,000 years, a forgotten community has kept the traditions of an ancient faith. Like all other Jews, the Lemba community of southern Africa are strict monotheists. They celebrate the new moon and keep kosher. They circumcise their baby boys and observe Shabbat. And like all other Jews, they've passed on their story from generation to generation. A story of exile and diaspora, persecution and resilience. It's the story of a faith that sustained them over centuries of isolation. Lemba Jews have always known who they are, but the wider Jewish community didn't. When the two finally collided, the Lemba's existence came as quite a surprise to other Jews. But with that surprise came skepticism. So how did the Lemba Jewish community become so disconnected from the rest of the Jewish world?
10 tribes.
Lemba communities have lived in southern Africa for centuries, and yet their neighbors have never considered them native to the continent. They were always seen as foreign transplants from somewhere else.
As Africans.
Even their name reflected their difference. Lemba means turban, a reference to the unique headgear they'd wear. Sometimes they were called Mushavi, or merchants, a nod to their occupation as merchants, traders, and highly skilled artisans. As a minority, the Lemba lived at the mercy of local governments. Often, they took on indispensable social roles, serving the royal family as healers or working with precious metals. It's a familiar refrain throughout Jewish history. All over the world, Jews often served the upper echelons of society as doctors or financiers, traders or artisans, until the powers that be got tired of this stubborn minority that refused to fit in. But Jews the world over had little interest in fitting in. The Lemba were no different. They had an ancient tradition to safeguard.
The story that has been passed down orally from my forefathers, from my grandparents, from my parents, is that plus minus 2,500 years ago, we descended from Hebrew Israelites and we fled Judea, escaping Babylonian captivity, and settled in a city called Sena in Yemen. And upon settling there, we were fleeing further wars and turmoil, so we migrated into Africa.
A world away from their ancient homeland, they maintained their biblical traditions. They slaughtered their animals according to Torah law and maintained a strict separation of meat and milk. They didn't eat unkosher animals like pigs or mice. On long journeys, they'd bring their own chickens so that they were never at risk of eating improperly
I told you chickens were kosher.
slaughtered foods. Some Lemba are so strict about kosher laws that they refuse to eat at their own relatives' houses.
You still find people who, when they visit some of their relatives who are not Lemba because of intermarriages, they would carry their own utensils. They don't want to end up eating food which has been cooked in something which we used to cook. The food they are not allowed to eat.
The adherence to Jewish customs doesn't end there. The Lemba use the lunisolar Jewish calendar, observing the new moon each month and welcoming the new year in autumn. They rest on Shabbat. They pray to one God. In other words, they maintain the traditions and rituals that Jews have held dear for millennia. And just as these customs set Jews apart in Europe, in North Africa, and Southwest Asia, these customs set Lemba apart from neighboring communities.
Local community people who were not Lemba people want Lemba people to assimilate in their way of living. But Lemba people were never comfortable with that because then that would conflict with how it was. It's kashrut laws, no intermarriage between locals and Lemba Jewish people. So there was always that struggle of maintaining that identity within a very hostile environment. And to a large extent, it succeeded.
So if the Lemba have been practicing Judaism for thousands of years, why have they been so isolated from other Jews? That disconnect can't be explained by geography alone. After all, there are tens of thousands of Jews in South Africa, mostly descendants of Lithuanian Jews who came with the gold rush. Why didn't these communities connect? To answer that,
You know
we need
why.
to know a little bit about South Africa. South Africa bills itself as the Rainbow Nation, a proud and diverse coalition of people from all backgrounds.
A rainbow nation at peace with itself and the world.
That includes Jews, some of whom might look familiar. But for decades, the Rainbow Nation wasn't a rainbow at all. It was an apartheid state that slotted its people into a strict racial hierarchy to segregate and control people of mixed race, Indian, and African descent. Whites were at the top, and black people, i.e. the majority of South Africa's population, were at the very, very bottom.
The easy life is on the white side of the color bar, and the hard life, with very few exceptions, is on the dark side.
In apartheid South Africa, your race was your destiny. It determined your education and your hometown, who you could marry, and what social services you were allowed. Interracial relationships were a crime. No one was allowed to reach across racial categories to build genuine connections with someone of another race, not even if they shared something much, much deeper. And so the Lemba, Jews who had practiced biblical Judaism for centuries, were designated black and divided from South Africa's mostly Ashkenazi Jews, whom the government classified as white.
That is why our fellow Jewish people within the white community did not know us. The only time they would have interaction with black people is when they hire them to come and work in their houses as maids and helpers or garden boys, or at the offices. you didn't have the opportunity to live together, to know each other, to know the cultural way of living.
These policies put Lemba Jews in an unholy bind. They were too Jewish for the native Africans, too black to be considered Jewish. And any attempt to bust out of the constraints of a single demographic box was met with confusion and disdain. When Pumuzo was a little girl filling out school forms, she wouldn't mark herself as black or white. Like Jews all over the world, unsure of where we fit in, she chose the one category that seemed big enough to include her: other.
The teacher one day asked, why are you picking other? You're black. So I'm like, I'm not just black. Yes, I am black. And I am an African, yes, but it's not the entirety of who I am. And I would always say, I'm a Jews. I was told, no, you can't be. And that always boggled me. I said, how can somebody tell me, no, I'm not what I am?
It's not easy to have your identity defined by an outsider, but it's even harder to have it dismissed by your own people. When the wider Jewish community finally learned of the Lemba's existence, many were skeptical. Some demanded proof of the Lemba's Jewishness. Others romanticized them as a lost tribe. Lemba pushed back against this label. How could they be lost when their ancient oral history situates them among all other Jews? The word lost implies that they've let go of their Judaism. But they've been practicing Judaism all along. And if anyone doubts their origins, well, they've got the genetic receipts. Relying on DNA tests is a tricky business. Our genes are far from the only thing that makes us Jewish. But it's pretty cool to see ancient narratives match up with DNA evidence. The same ancient story spelled out in genetic code. And in the case of the Lemba, the evidence was fascinating. And it all started with a few Lemba activists. The apartheid system was exceedingly cruel, and a part of that system granted limited power to some indigenous African communities. But when the Lemba petitioned to be recognized as a distinct African community, the government dismissed their claims. Again, they were too Jewish to be considered native Africans, and too African to be seen as fully Jewish. But for centuries, the Lemba had refused to let others define them. They certainly weren't going to let the apartheid government decide who they were. Lemba activists told their story to anyone who would listen. And eventually, they caught the attention of researchers who suggested they use science to settle the matter once and for all. So the Lemba agreed to give DNA samples to be studied against other Jewish populations. And the researchers found something exciting. The Lemba weren't just descended from Jews. They had the distinct genetic marker found only in Kohanim, aka Jews from the priestly caste. It's so distinct that only a small subset of Jewish men carry it, including the Lemba.
One of the clans of the Lemba, the Buba, was supposed to be the kind of priestly clan, and those from the Buba clan had the very signature that we found in priests worldwide, both in Ashkenazi and Sephardi. And this was a very exciting discovery. By now there was data that seemed to push things in a direction that was not at all inconsistent with the oral tradition of the Lemba.
It was an incredible discovery, but one that raised more questions than answers. Because if the Lemba were descended from Jews, and not just Jews but Jewish priests, then why didn't they call themselves Kohanim, like all other Jewish priests? For that matter, why didn't Lemba Jews have Torah scrolls or speak the Hebrew language? Why did Lemba communities sacrifice a lamb on Passover instead of having a Seder? It all goes back to their isolation. Judaism is a highly communal religion. We need one another. And for thousands of years, the Lemba were cut off from other Jews. Despite their fierce refusal to assimilate, they took on some of the characteristics of their neighboring communities, just like other Jewish communities around the globe. Don't forget, the Lemba were a minority subjected to mighty pressure from their neighbors. They resisted, but certain traditions got lost. And in that way, they're no different from other Jewish communities that were forced to adapt to their environment. For thousands of years,
rather than saying that they have the original way, they're saying that, well, they succumbed to societal pressure.
They defied their isolation to maintain practices that other
rather than admit that the new way is actually wrong.
Jewish communities lost, like sacrificing a lamb on Passover. Their isolation became their strength. And even if certain traditions fell away, the Lemba themselves weren't lost. In fact,
doesn't the Tanakh say to, sacrifice a lamb on Passover?
That narrative is deeply hurtful to many Lemba people.
Honestly, it's a lack of knowledge as well, lack of not wanting to learn. I think because they don't want to take the time to fully understand our story, our plight, our history, I think it also makes it more difficult because our history is passed down orally.
No Jewish community exists in a vacuum. We've all been shaped by outside forces, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse.
Because of our complicated racial discriminatory history, you had this separation of the group which has always been part and parcel of the broader community, but not being known or forgotten. When they realize that they have cousins in their own backyards, that's when they started opening up. It's a gradual process, but they've come to accept that we are not the only Jewish people in this part of the world. We have our cousins who have a darker hue.
But the road to widespread recognition has been bumpy, to say the least.
All Lemba men are the sons of prior Lemba men, but Lemba women can come from anywhere and can join the Lemba clan. And once again, that underlines the fact that by rabbinic status, the Lemba can't be Jewish because they don't have matrilineal descent.
And yet, Lemba Jews have thousands of years of tradition. They have DNA evidence, and they required that non-Lemba women convert into the community. So why weren't those conversions considered valid? Why wasn't their DNA and their history enough? This question isn't unique to Lemba Jews. It's been asked about many isolated Jewish communities, from the Igbo to the Kaifeng Jews to India's B'nai Israel. And no one can agree on who gets the last word when determining whether someone
What do they all have in common?
is a Jew. Is it the community itself? Is it historians, geneticists, rabbis? Is it the Jewish state whose citizenship laws depend on proving Jewish descent? The debate rages to this day, and while not all Jews will agree on the answer, our starting point must be one of acceptance and respect. Like all other Jewish communities, Lemba Jews have defied every attempt to erase their unique identity. Now it's the job of the wider Jewish community to understand Lemba history, traditions, and their unwavering strength. For more than 2,000 years, a forgotten
It's now time for Moshe in your kitchen. Okay, onion, cutting the onion. I would have cut it down the middle first, but okay. Now you use olive oil or avocado oil. There's nothing like the smell of onions sauteing in butter in your kitchen. A leek. I haven't had leeks in a while. I love the flavor of leeks. It's oniony, but it gives it a distinct flavor. hungry. Well, get those seeds out of there. That's going to be crunchy. Oh, I see some seeds. Hey, what's in that seasoning? Salt, paprika. Okay. Soy sauce. Okay, got on the gloves. Good, good. It just seems like more. You need a little bit more seasoning. I mean, I don't know. This seems that way to me. At least I'd put more seasoning in there. Looking good. Oh, get them taters ready. In learning modern Hebrew, one of the things I always thought was funny is that potatoes are called earth apples in Hebrew. Tepuach retz. Looks good. But see, I would want some rice with that. I really would. I'd want some rice. What you gonna do with them taters? Like really? Like that's all the salt and you're gonna put it in the water? Really? Now that looks good. I just have a feeling that it needs more seasoning. I don't know why you wouldn't add the garlic before, but okay. That is a little butter. For mashed potatoes, that is very little butter. Oh, that's the old-fashioned way right there. Did you put any salt and pepper in the mashed potatoes? Well, not tender enough. You're fighting it. It's not tender enough. But it looks good. Well, it looks good. I will admit it does look kind of good. Hey, we're just about to the point where we're going to let you enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. I don't know if there are any questions, but I know I've got some food waiting on me that I want to get to. What did I prepare for this Shabbat? Well, on yesterday, I actually got the grill. Yeah, I went to the grill and I put some salmon on the grill. Oh, my. You talk about delicious. If you've never had salmon on the grill, you are missing it. You are missing it. So I have got that waiting on me. I also sauteed some kale, and I've got some other mixed vegetables, and I can't wait. I also made some of that healthy bread from lentils. I sure did. I made some of that lentil bread. And so I've got a good meal waiting on me. But you know what? When I come back, we're going to see if there are any questions. I'm just going to give you just a little time, not much. If you got a question, you need to put it into the chat room, put my name on it, or a comment that you want me to see, put my name on it. We need to do that right away because, hey, you know what? Hey, after this little break, we're going to check back in. And if we're all good to go, then yeah, we're going to skedaddle. We're going to let you enjoy the rest of your Shabbat. Be right back. Hi, I'm Melchior Uriel, and I want to come to your church or to sit down with you, Pastor, and have a build where we discuss, open up scriptures, and discuss the realities behind the Hebrew way of life and following the laws. Please call the number below, and if unanswered, please leave a message. Thank you. Shalom.
It makes you laugh.
All right. Well, peace and blessings, my brothers and my sisters. Hey, once again, fam, I've enjoyed our time together. And you know, I truly do. From the depths of my heart, I love you all. And I'm glad that we've had this time to come together. I'm glad that we've had this time to discuss the word of the Most High together as we read our Torah portion, as well as we visited some of the other chapters of life, some of the other topics that are important and pertinent for our existence. And I just simply want to say that, you know what, I pray that you enjoy the rest of your Shabbat as well. May the Most High bless you and smile upon you and keep you during the course of this week. May He allow all of our individual places of dwelling to be like Goshen, to be stepped aside from the plagues, that may it be exempt from the plagues and the diseases. And we claim that for ourselves according to Psalms 91, that we will not be afraid of the pestilence. We will not be afraid of anything that they engineer in their labs and distribute amongst us. We will not be afraid of their pandemics. We will not be afraid, for the Most High is with us. Hallelujah. And with that, we pray that the Most High bless you. May He keep you. Peace and blessings to you too, Miss H. Peace and blessings to you as well, to you, my elder, my beloved elder. And I want to say thanks to each and every one of you for your time. You've given me the two precious gifts that are most precious, your time and your attention. And I pray that the Most High bless you. May He keep you. And you know what? Hey, Yah willing, we will see you for the midweek. Peace and blessings to you. I love you all. Be well, be blessed. And remember, Israel is no longer cursed, but the Most High is standing over us to do us good. He's standing over us to do us good, and no longer standing over us to do us harm. Mike 630 says, Shabbat Shalom. Question as Hebrews, does anything in the New Testament apply to us? Example, time going fast in Matthew, or anything in Revelations. Well, thank you for that question, Mike. Thank you for that question, Mike. What we are admonished to do is we are admonished to live by the Tanakh, to live by the Torah, and to follow His laws, statutes, and His commandments. At best, the Christian New Testament could be considered, in some cases, not many, it could be considered as possible commentary or even possible history. But other than that, no, there is nothing that we would gain from reading the Christian New Testament, especially, the book of Revelation. We are not admonished to even, look at that, because the book of Revelation, as quiet as it's kept, it was almost not included in the Christian New Testament because it is actually older. I mean, the book of the Revelation, what you call the Revelation, is actually Zoroastrian in its nature, but it's been adopted and edited, if you will, to take on a Christian motif. So no, there isn't anything there that we find of value. And we know that time moves on. We know anything that we would gather concerning time, we can get that from the Tanakh. You can get that from Ecclesiastes. At best, it could be considered in some places to be historical and other places to be commentary. But we find, because wherever the Christian New Testament mentions a truth, it usually is used to substantiate a false revelation or a lie within itself. With that being the case, we don't want to wade through those waters. We invoke Isaiah 8:20, since it does not align itself with the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, but boasts itself of having a new revelation, or being a new revelation, where a new deity is introduced. We don't even go there with them. Okay, so with that being the case, I want to just say thank you, my brothers and my sisters, for being here. We absolutely appreciate you being here, and I love you all. I really do, from my heart. Those of you who are newcomers, as well as those of you who are our regular family members, I love you all. I really mean that from the depths of my heart. And I pray that the Most High bless you, that he prosper you, that he keep you healthy, and that he gives you the wisdom to navigate your particular section of waters. And we are all here together, and we will help as we can. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings. And I just want to say thank you, Mike. I appreciate you as well, my brother. Appreciate you. So, hey, may the Most High bless you all. I love you. Shalom, lahitriot. I'm out.